Over 700,000 more people arrived in the UK than left last year. That's not a statistic, it's the biggest migration surge in our history outside of wartime. Towns and cities swell, GP surgeries overflow, housing is snapped up and the schools are stretched beyond breaking point. And people ask, who is this country really for anymore?
If raising legitimate concerns about thousands and thousands of unchecked foreign males illegally entering our country makes me far right, then so be it.
The national debt now sits at above 100% GDP. Local councils like Birmingham have gone bankrupt. Taxes are the highest they've been in 70 years, yet the average Brit is poorer, more overworked and less heard than ever before. Meanwhile, foreign aid continues. Asylum hotels continue. And our leaders insist that everything is just fine.
My response is to say, I get it. We were elected into government at the general election last year to deliver change. We need to go further and faster with change.
We sold our power, literally. French, German and Chinese companies own huge parts of our energy grid. EDF, a French state-owned company, who, by the way, have one of the cheapest energy rates in the EU, controls key nuclear infrastructure. The Chinese government has stakes in our nuclear reactors. Our water companies are owned by investment firms in Canada, Australia and the Middle East, and we now pay more for dirtier water, with record amounts of raw sewage dumped into the rivers and the seas day by day. But why stop there? I mean, we also sold our steel, our car manufacturing, our ports, our tech companies. Arm, once a jewel of British innovation, was sold to foreign investors. Even iconic British brands like Cadbury, Jaguar, Boots have been swallowed up by foreign conglomerates. No protections, no vision, just asset stripping, piece by fucking piece. We don't even own our railways. We pay for a worse service while profits go to German and Dutch state-owned rail firms. We don't control our supermarkets. Most food supply chains are run through global logistic networks with zero loyalty to British farmers. We've offshored everything, from the post to pharmaceuticals. Even the NHS is barely ours anymore, being carved up by American health firms, outsourced to private contractors, and flooded with demand from a population that's grown faster than any single system could possibly cope. Our legal system bends backwards to accommodate criminals who should have been deported years ago. People who rape, assault or even murder are allowed to stay because of human rights claims. We all know about the case of one man being avoided deportation because the Home Office couldn't prove that he'd had the wrong kind of chicken fucking nuggets. It's not satire. This is the judiciary acting against the actual interests of the people. Grooming gangs were ignored for decades while the police and councils looked away.
Do you think about how many men might have actually abused you?
It's in the hundreds, but I just try not to go there.
Afraid of being called racist. Whole communities were sacrificed to political correctness. Entire generations of white girls placed on the altar of diversity and sacrificed to the new religion of peace. At the same time, our military has been shrunk to levels not seen since the Napoleonic Wars. Recruitment is down, obviously because no one wants to fight for a country that hates them. Equipment is outdated, and the focus is now on diversity targets rather than actually, defending the nation. Meanwhile, foreign nationals hold senior positions in Parliament, the police, and even the army. Not immigrants who've, integrated and committed to this country. No, that's way too difficult. Foreign nationals with dual loyalties, some with little to no cultural or historical connection to Britain at all. Tell me a single other country, a single serious country in this world right now that would do something like this to their own people. International treaties are signed without public consent. Trade deals seem to favour foreign interests over the interests of the British. Foreign courts still influence UK law. The EU, despite Brexit, continues to apply pressure for regulatory alignment. We're back under the thumb, boys and girls, just without a seat at the table. And I bet you can't wait for those new projects like the 15-minute cities, digital ID trials.
We cannot continue with business as usual, and change is inevitable. This is where technology, like digital ID, becomes critical.
Carbon allowances and a central bank digital currency, all being quietly rolled out by stealth. The government calls them modernisation.
The new Modernisation Committee of the House of Commons.
I argue that our NHS must modernise or die, not as a threat, but a choice.
It does appear that the government is continuing to miss an opportunity to promote growth in the sector and engage in the modernisation of casinos more broadly.
I want to manage expectations here, which is in terms of quick fixes. There will not be lots of quick fixes in social care. What I want to do is make sure we've got a serious plan for a decade of reform and modernisation in social care.
When in practice they mean more surveillance, more control, fewer freedoms, fewer accessions, all while you're told it's good. It's for your own good.
You have been committed for sentence, having pleaded guilty to an offence of publishing written material which is threatening, abusive or insulting.
I mean, it's not like the government's ever lied to you before.
From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home. The virus is spreading even faster than the reasonable worst-case scenario of our scientific advisors.
So what does all this mean for the UK right now? Well, it means that we're not really a sovereign nation, not in any meaningful sense. We're a deregulated offshore zone, a global shopping mall, a tax farm, a floating duty-free airport where the only things truly British are the people who are ignored, demonised, taxed into oblivion and then arrested if they even dare hold a little bit of contempt. Everything that could be sold has been sold. Everything that could be broken has been broken. Every promise made was not delivered or completely ignored. And what remains is a hollowed out state draped in a burning Union Jack, kept alive just long enough to extract that last bit of value before the lights go out. Now, you can't say that this is just mismanagement. It looks a lot more like policy, because no nation ends like this by accident.